Model steam engines, top tip time, and this is part 57. The clips in this episode are taken from my series An Antique Brass Model Steam Engine. The way this engine is made is quite similar to Basset Loke engines from many years ago. I can't be sure, but the way the valve rod fits into the slide valve is very reminiscent of other Basset Loke engines I've worked on. This was in a very poor state when I received it, but by the end of this video you will see a big difference, and there are plenty of top tips to watch on the way. The time has come to work on the steam chest. The scoring of the port face is negligible, so I'm not going to do anything with this, it's basically fine. But I am going to do something about the valve. There are one or two things wrong with this slide valve. The valve rod is actually slotted, which fits into the slot on the slide valve. The trouble is though, the slot is a little bit tight, so here using a needle file I'm enlarging the slot in the slide valve. Here's the valve rod in the top gland fitting and the slide valve. I cleaned up the valve rod using a wire brush in my bench mounted Proxxon motor tool. I've unpicked some of this braided Teflon yarn and I'm going to use one strand of this and wrap it round the valve rod. Time for a bit of an obvious tip here. When you're doing this job, make sure that the gland part is fitted to the valve spindle before you wind the gland packing around the valve rod. I've fitted just enough valve packing to leave a bit of a gap between the end part and the main body. Once the nuts are tightened and then backed off a little bit, everything should be fine. Time now to make a pair of gaskets for the valve chest. I folded a piece of gasket material over and then cut them out as a pair. I didn't bother videoing the making of these gaskets because it's very simple. This clip shows one of the gaskets fitted to the steam chest, and as you can see it's a bit on the big side in places and needs trimming. I've fitted a temporary exhaust pipe, anticipating running this engine before too long. And here I'm rotating the flywheel to just see how the valve is travelling over the ports. And the valve wasn't travelling very well. It wasn't passing equidistantly over the ports. I slackened off the lock nut and adjusted the position of the eccentric rod to make the valve travel the correct distance at both ends. This is the bolt that holds the eccentric rod to the valve fork. And I wasn't going to use it, I was going to make a new part, but then I thought, no, sympathetic restoration, this is the part that's been fitted to the engine for many years, so I reused this one. Having a threaded bolt as a bearing surface is never going to work very well. But for this antique brass engine that's never going to do any real work, it will be fine. Here is the slide valve inside the steam chest, and as you can see, it only just uncovers the ports. In fact, it doesn't uncover the ports far enough. To make matters worse, the valve only fits one way round because the driving block in the centre of the valve is not in the middle. Inside the steam chest originally was a large spring that someone had attempted to solder against the valve. Needless to say, I didn't refit the spring. I fitted the steam chest, connected some air, and the engine was very reluctant to work. I would say there are three distinctly different things wrong with this slide valve arrangement. 1. The slide valve actually fouls the gasket, even though the gasket is cut quite close to the steam chest shape. 2. The slide valve is not the right shape. It's unmachined at each end. The valve is too long to uncover the ports properly. And 3. As per usual, the valve is quite a tight fit on the valve spindle. Don't forget, the only thing that holds slide valves against the port face is the pressure of the steam or air entering the valve chest. The solution was to cut the gasket slightly smaller so it didn't get in the way of the valve. Then I trimmed the valve itself using my 1-inch belt sander, removing a very small amount of metal from each end of it. Finally, I filed the slot in the valve slightly larger so it floated on the end of the valve spindle. I refitted the valve chest, connected the air and... the engine runs. The timing's not right. I put far too much steam oil into the cylinder, which is pouring out of the exhaust pipe. It's making quite a lot of noise, but don't forget my workbench acts like a soundboard. When I lift the engine off the bench, it's a lot quieter, but the timing's definitely not right. I'm going to look at that shortly. First though, using a Stanley knife, I'm going to trim the gaskets so that they don't look unsightly. Small details like this make all the difference. The engine wasn't fitted with gaskets originally and leaked badly around the steam chest. This looks a lot better. You can't see that there is a gasket there because it's only a thin one, and the fit of the steam chest against the cylinder and the fit of the steam chest cover against the steam chest is fine, and there are no leaks. Time I think to refit this pulley. Originally the grub screw was broken. Here it is with half of it missing, so I'm going to make a new one from a 2BA bolt. I rethreaded the pulley using a 2BA tap, and here you see the 2BA grub screw fitted in position. The reason for not fitting a 2BA Allen caphead grub screw is, in the time when this engine was made, it wasn't the done thing. There were always slot-headed grub screws. The pulley's running anything but true, but I'm not going to alter that. It's the way the engine is. Don't forget this is a sympathetic restoration. There was a bit of play in the main bearing at the flywheel end, so I thought I would adjust this. It's really not a lot, so the simplest solution is to remove the top cap, rub it up and down on a piece of wet or dry sandpaper until my hand aches, and remove a small amount of metal. I'm resting the piece of wet or dry sandpaper, which is 400 grade, on a piece of mahogany. This mahogany is flat enough for this job. After thoroughly cleaning the top bearing part that had been working on, I fitted it back in place and then applied quite a lot of lubricating oil to both of the bearings and the eccentric. I fitted a proper exhaust pipe with a cast elbow. These parts come from an American company called PM Research, although I buy mine in England from Forest Classics. And now it's insanity time. With some compressed air at a low pressure, I can rotate the flywheel and hear when the air is being admitted and exhausted. Then by moving the eccentric sheave around the crankshaft very slightly and nipping it back in position, eventually I get the ideal position to make the engine run well. This setting is not bad, but it's not right. Currently the slide valve is set for a late admission, which admits the air to the steam cylinder slightly late, after the piston has passed top dead centre at both ends. This is what happens when I set admission to be early. The engine runs and it's better and it's not as noisy, but it's a bit lumpy. You have to make a decision with some engines. This one has a heavy flywheel and the kinetic energy is more than capable of carrying the piston over top dead centre. But it's not going to be running generally, I would think, at this sort of a speed. So I want it to run at a nice slow pace. The engine is running backwards. I'm going to change the timing so it runs in a forwards direction. I'm doing this by rotating the eccentric sheave to the other side of the crank pin. When I admit the compressed air to the engine, listen. That's when the slide valve hits the ports. And off it goes. The engine is sat on top of a piece of Scotch-Brite, which in turn is sat on the two pieces of mahogany, and it's running quite sweetly now. The slide valve isn't blowing, and the piston's definitely not blowing, and the power output from this engine is quite astonishing for its size, but then again it is quite a big brass engine with a 1-inch diameter cylinder. I'm taking great care not to trap my fingers in the motion work. As per usual, when I'm working on steam engines, I always run them on the bench fast to start with. I'd much rather things fall off the engine here than when the customer gets the engine back. If you watched the last episode, you will know that I had to tap the piston into position in the cylinder with a piece of copper pipe. The good news is that the Teflon packing is running in perfectly, and the engine is starting to run very well at a slower speed. The engine is running quite well, and provided the owner oils the engine, not just on the external motion work but puts some oil into the cylinder, which you can do by putting the oil into the exhaust pipe and turning the engine in the reverse direction, which sucks the oil in. I'll conclude this video with a bit of slow motion running. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.